kong balikan yung story kung saan niligtas ng Panginoon ang kanyang mga anak sa Ehipto. In Exodus 3:7-10. Yan, buksan natin yung ating mga Biblia in Exodus 3:7-10. Sabi ng ating Panginoon, the Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now, go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. Wow. In this Bible, in this story, God gave His people the signs and wonders. If you will read the Exodus, He sent the 10 plagues. Tama? He gave the Passover, where the angel of death will pass through every door na kapag wala kang dugo ng lamb sa iyong doorpost, mamamatay ang unang anak na lalaki. And lahat ng Israelita, buhay at protektado ng Panginoon. He even have these wonders and miracles to crossing of the Red Sea. Imagine that. Imagine tayo yon living in the days of Exodus. Ang daming signs and wonders ng Panginoon. And even after their exit sa Egypt, He even gave another signs and wonders for 40 years ng kanilang paglalakbay sa wilderness. Ano to? He gave them water. He gave them food. Alam niyo yung pagkain nila? The manna and the quail. And He even sent an angel to guard them along the way, along their path. He sent cloud during the day to protect them. At sa gabi, nagpadala siya ng apoy into that cloud by night so that they can see during their travel. Wow! How good is our Father in heaven that He provided everything for His people in their journey. Yet, we still complain. Pakisabi nga sa katabi mo, complain. Complain. For 40 years ng buhay nila, sila ay nagko-complain. They complain about the bitter water na ibinigay sa kanila. They complain na nagugutom sila during the journey. They complain na uhaw sila. They complain about the giants in the land that they will conquer. Please read that. They complained and wanted to kill Moses. Alam niyo ba yon? Yung leader nila, na si Pastor Ryan, gusto nilang patayin. Sa galit, sa inis. The key leaders, the primary leaders of Moses, rebelled against him. It is the same today, mga kapatid. You know, God has given us so much blessings, right? You know, God gave us wonders and miracles sa buhay natin. He provided work. He provided money, He provided house, He provided spouse. Sa mga walang pang spouse, He will provide that. He gave us children and children and children. He gave us cars. Sinong may mga sasakyan dito? God is good. Sinong gusto ng mga sasakyan? Yung mga nagtaas lang ng kamay, ha? Sinong gusto ng business? He will give that. Projects, promotions, He even healing us, right? He answered all our prayers. Yet, laging may but, we always feel lacking. What had once been more than enough eventually become not enough. Yung nag-dream ka before, nung bata ka, yung pangarap mo na gusto mong paglaki, gusto mong maging abogado, maging doktor, maging mayaman, at pag nakuha mo na, parang may kulang pa din. Parang hindi pa rin sapat. Parang may gusto ka pang makuha. Tama ba ako? Parang si Jihan, na parang may gusto pa daw siyang makuha. I think we live in the days or in the culture that is obsessed with the right to have what we want. We want our lives to be happy, but the truth is, the reality, mga kapatid, not everything that will happen in our lives will make us happy. I think the requirement of being happy all the time is where the word entitlement lives. Tutuloy ko pa ba? Yung binasa nating scripture, yung kinukwento ko sa inyo in the days of Egypt, we learned about the children of Israel were keep on grumbling and complaining despite the daily provision of God from heaven. And as they traveled deeper into the wilderness, they began to focus on what they are lacking rather than the goodness, the blessings, the miracles, the wonders ng Lord sa kanila. Nakalimutan nila yun lahat. Nag-focus sila sa mga maliliit na hindi na-provide dahil sa mga kagustuhan nila. You know what pakisabi nga grumbling? Do you know what grumbling is? It's a fruit of ungrateful heart. Pag sinabing grumbling, you are venting out, you are complaining, you are being frustrated because there are things that are not falling the way you want. It's said in the Old Testament, the people of Israelites grumbled against God. At sabi sa New Testament in Philippians 2:14, hindi ko nasama dyan, but Philippians 2:14 says, do all things without grumbling and disputing. Minemorize namin yan ng anak ko. That every time nagko-complain siya, lagi kong sasabihin, do all things without grumbling and complaining and disputing. Alam nyo ba na in Hebrew, itong grumbling, ang ibig sabihin nito in Hebrew is regan. Literally means to growl. Growl nga kayo? Rawr! Ang hina. Mahinhin. Pag sinabi nag-growl, it's almost like an angry dog. Galit na aso. Imagine that. Yung naglalaway pa sa galit. Diba? It's almost like looking for vengeance. Paghihiganti in a way that I am so angry about this. You know what? Ang grumbling is a fruit of ungrateful heart. Ungrateful heart against our God. This grumbling is rooted to have anger towards God. This grumbling can form in so many ways. Ano ito? It can be our words, yung mga salitang binibigkas natin. It could be our actions. It could be our attitudes and our thoughts. And all of that originates in our hearts. Ito yung sinasabi ni Pastor Ancho, that our hearts, yung pinapakita niyang picture na ang puso natin ay punong-puno ng kasamaan. Grateful heart doesn't growl at God. It shows that the Israelite people shows ungrateful to God. Gusto na lang nila, alam nyo ba, mas gusto pa nilang bumalik sa Ehipto at maging slaves doon kesa magutom sa wilderness, kesa kasama ang Diyos. So instead of being grateful for the deliverance and the freedom, they complained. We live in a culture where there is a spirit of entitlement, mga kapatid. In these days, it's like in the days of Exodus. Part of it, di ba pag sinabi nating entitlement, sige nga sabihin nga natin ulit, entitlement. Meron dyan sa gitna, the root word is title. Right? Pag sinabing title, I think something is, we have to own it. Because the title na meron tayo, we are holding a title like tayo ay nanay, tayo ay anak, tayo ay boss, tayo ay teacher, tayo ay estudyante, tayo ay teacher, tayo ay pastor. These are titles. Tayo ay boss, right? Where we think we deserve all of these great things in life, if something doesn't go on our way, we feel like we've been robbed and deprived. Para bang gusto natin ang lahat. Para bang kapag hindi natin nakuha yon, we will grumble, we will complain, we will get angry, we will not be grateful. And that is the root of entitlement. Na para bang, I deserve this. I deserve this. You know, these days, we are living in this woke generation. Alam niyo yung woke generation, di ba? Yung alam na yung lahat. Di ba? Right? Right? Feeling pa natin, alam na natin lahat. Maraming nagmamarunong, maraming mayabang, maraming bastos, maraming rebelde. Akala nila tama ang pinaglalaban nila. Example, entitlement sa bahay. Marami akong example dito. Tingnan natin kung sino-sino to. Pag inutusan mo, magrereklamo. Kapag nagalit yung magulang mo dahil sinisermonan ka, dahil late ka or madalas kang hindi umuuwi, abay, pinapangunahan mo ng iyong magulang na lumayas. Di ba? Dati ang sakit-sakit na palayasin ka ng nanay mo. Napalayas din ako. Pero ngayon, hindi ko maintindihan yung mga kabataan. Papangunahan nila yung mga magulang. Lalayas na ako sa bahay na to. Tama ba? Sunod, entitled sa mag-asawa. Uy, sa May, birthday ko. Mother's Day. Anniversary natin. Dapat may gift ka. Diba? Honey, gusto ko to. Dapat hindi mo to ginawa. Dapat ginawa mo to. Ito kasi dapat eh. Dapat ganito ka, ganito ka, ganito ka, ganito ka, ganito ka. Pakisabi, entitlement. Gusto nyo pa? Ito pa. Entitlement sa labas ng simbahan muna. Huli na natin yung entitlement sa loob ng simbahan. Di ba may kasabihan na pag tinabig mo ang baso, malalaman mo ang nasa loob nito? Di ba? Pag natabig ka raw, kunwari may dala kang kape, malalaman ang nasa puso mo based sa reaction mo. Magagalit ka ba? Mang-aaway ka ba? Manununtok ka ba kapag natapon yung kape mo? Diba? Ito pa, sa haba ng pila, nakikita ang ugali ng isang tao. Tama, mali? Diyan natin nakikita sino na maglulumpisay sa galit dahil napakahaba. Right? Next. Entitlement sa loob ng simbahan. Leader ako. I'm a primary leader. Ako lang masusunod sa network na to. Hindi ko tatanggapin mga opinion nyo. Alam mo, may event daw si pastor, dapat kasama ako dyan. Hindi pwedeng absent ako. Kailangan mapansin ako ng pastor natin. 'Di ba? Dapat ako yung nagsasalita dyan. Mas magaling ako kay Pastora Dayan. Mas marami akong kayang sabihin, o sige, dito ka na. Madami kang ideas eh. Diba? Magaling po akong tumugtog. Ang galing ko sa drums. Ang galing kong pumalo. Ang galing kong sumayaw. Dapat magpakitang gilas ako kahit hindi na ako makasabay sa ibang instrument. Basta magaling ako. Diba? Si Coach Pao. Leader. Yan. Kunwari si Angela. Angela, pwede bang ikaw yung i-assign ko para mag-giving? Para mag-closing? Ha? Anong sasabihin ko? Naku, Coach, ayoko. Pwede bang wag na lang ako? Wait, bakit hindi ka ready? Ang tanong ko sa'yo, hindi ka ba nagde-devotion? Hindi ka ba nagbabasa ng salita ng Diyos? Wala ka bang patotoo sa Kanya na ikaw ay pinagpala niya ng lubos at wala kang kakayanang umakyat dito to share it? Entitlement, pakisabi. Coach, bakit ako maglilinis dyan ng CRA? Hindi naman ako part ng banyo team or maintenance team. Imbis nagre-reklamo na laging madumi. Di ba? Sino pa? Bigyan niyo akong pangalan dyan. Kunwari si Alvin. Coach, ayoko pong mag-involve sa ministry or department sa church or mag-school of leaders. Attend lang muna ako. Paano naman yung jowa ko? Wala na akong time. Diba? Wala na akong magiging time sa kanya kung lagi ako nasa simbahan. Diba? Pastor, sorry, di pa ako ready. Pero 5 years na yon or mas malala, 10 years na nasa church, di pa rin ready sa commitment. Diba? O, ito, last na. Tithing. Oh Lord, yan na. Ibibigay ko sa'yo yung 10% tithes ko. Siguro naman, Lord, masaya ka na. Sa totoo lang, mga iyo at iha, mga kapatid, nagbabalik ka lang ng nararapat sa Panginoon kapag ginawa mo ito. Ang ganda ng mensahe kagabi. Alam mo, listen, kapag matuto kang magbigay ng iyong offering, pakisabi nga offering, or first fruit, dun ka pa lang natututong magbigay. Tanong ko, nag-o-offering ka ba? Hindi na nakatingin sa sa katabi. Nakapag first fruit ka na ba? Or mag-o-offering ka na mamaya? Di ba? Alam mo, wag na wag kang magcha-challenge ng giving kung ikaw mismo ay hindi marunong mag-tithes and offering kasi hindi mo talaga nauunawaan ang ibig sabihin ng pagbibigay. You are dishonoring the platform of the temple of God if you challenge other people but you yourself cannot give. We should give not just our tithes, but we also give our offering. Yan ang sabi sa Biblia. I believe that gratefulness and entitlement are two opposing ideas. Parang kabaliktaran ng entitlement ay gratefulness. Ang gratefulness, entitlement. You know, I believe the greatness of all the traits is gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of goodness and happiness. You cannot be a good person if you are not grateful. You cannot be happy if you are not grateful. Baliktarin natin. There is no ungrateful person who is happy. And there is no ungrateful person who is good. And young people nowadays are being taught to be ungrateful. May ipapakita ako sa inyo. According to the book, I was reading this book, natapos ko na siya. by Kristen Welch, Raising Grateful Kids in an Entitled World. She asked yung mga magulang all over USA, iba't ibang states in United States, to check kung anong meron yung kanilang mga anak, anong gadgets meron ang kanilang anak. Around 5,000 yung sinurvey niya, pero 3,316 chose to answer this survey in 2014. Tignan nyo to. Sabi dito, 74% have iPad or Kindle. 55% have cell phones. 30% have a television in their room. 35% have personal laptops or computer. Mga bata to 16% have a car of their own. 5% have a debit or credit card for their parents' account. Now, there are many unknown variables. Hindi niya binanggit yung mga age ng mga batang ito, whether or not itong mga batang to, binili nila ito ng sarili nilang pera or hindi. But ito ang meron sila. The fact remains that our kids have lots of things na wala naman tayo dati. These things affect our children so much. It affects their behavior, it affects their mindset, it affects their whole life and point of view. Alam nyo, yung bata, before, masaya na tayo sa palaro-laro ng text, ng Jolen, ng Pogs, ng goma sa labas. Yung bata ngayon, mas masaya, may iPad, may cellphone para makapaglaro, right? Yung mga bata before, isang sit-sit lang ng magulang, makikinig na. Susunod ka. Sabi nga ni Attorney Alma, isang sit-sit lang ng tatay niya, matakot ka na. Ngayon, makailang sit-sit ka, tatarayan ka pa. Pag sinabi ng magulang mo, wala tayong pera, wala kang bibilhin, kailangan mong mag-ipon para sa gusto mo. Yung bata ngayon, magwawala hanggang saan maabutan. You know what? I am teaching my kids not to be entitled. There were times we were in the mall and si Akila may gustong ipabili na wala naman sa budget at marami siya ring ganon. I am telling her, hindi tayo bibili ngayon. Mag-iipon tayo para dyan. Or, hindi tayo bibili niyan dahil marami ka pang laruan. I am always telling her, madami ka, meron ka, hindi ka nawawalan. And even I'm asking her, lagi, every day, every night, ano yung gusto mong ipagpasalamat kay Lord ngayong gabi? Ano yung mga ginawa natin buong araw na thankful ka kay Jesus? We always do that at home. You know, and even, pwede bang ang bilis ng oras, bakit ganon? I just want to share another story in the Bible. Ito, papahapyawan lang natin. Gusto niyo pa ba? Does it make sense yung sinasabi ko? Sharing another story in the Bible when King David was the ruler of Israel and his third son, sino yon? It's Absalom, had an extreme case of entitlement. Please read this in 2 Samuel 13 to 18. Read that. Absalom murdered his brother Amnon for raping her sister. Okay? He led a revolt against his father's government and he raped his father's concubines. Imagine that. Grabe yung ginawa ng anak na to. We've taken an absolute truth. Certainly, itong si David, King David, demonstrated some serious flaw in his parenting kay Absalom. Besides favoring Absalom, he did not restrain or properly discipline itong anak niya, especially after Amnon raped his sister. Instead, anong ginawa ni David? David, placing a crown on his son Absalom's head, The father and the son became enemies in the eyes of David's troops and government, and Absalom died trying to escape his father's men. Wow. And I want to share the lesson of this story is absolute truth. The problem today, mga kapatid, na meron tayo argues that truth is subjective. Truth changes to accommodate our own opinions. Example ng absolute truth. Alam natin na ang pagpatay ay mali. It is against the law of God and the law of people. But society says it's okay if it's unborn baby. We've taken an absolute truth and changed it to fit a situation for the sake of convenience. When we look closely at Absalom's life, we can see that he didn't believe in moral truths that God set a standard for all people at all times in all situations. He sought revenge. He sought murder. Murdered a man, his brother. He raped a woman, conspired against his father's authority and government, and asking, because it fulfilled his purpose, yung kagustuhan niya at hindi kagustuhan ng Panginoon. Marami akong nakikitang shift from truth in our culture in many ways. Makikita natin yan sa TV, sa social media, to what even sa mga librong binabasa natin. We used to be, itong mga to, we used to call it as a taboo. Now, is socially acceptable. What used to be wrong is now right in some circumstances. Ito pa, maipapakita ako sa inyo isang libro. Nakita ko to. Did you know na maraming books sa mga bata that can be deceiving with their titles? Books that are attractive to kids because the information presented in appealing way because it's bright and colorful. Itong libro na to, Sex is a Funny Word by Cory Silverberg, naka-display ito sa isang library sa Amerika. And when you flip through this, you will see graphic information about masturbation. You will see descriptions about how and why to touch certain body parts. And persuasive questioning about authority in your community. Sabi nila, mali ito. Ikaw, anong masasabi mo? Children's section. Having that book. Absolute truth is not absolute truth anymore in this world. People eventually accept it as truth because others do it or because culture calls it politically correct to do so. Ito pa, meron pa ako isang survey. When Americans were asked by the Barna Research Group during 2015 research, kung absolute truth daw ay nag-i-exist, alam niyo ba ang sabi dun sa survey? 83% of born-again Christians said that moral truth depends on situational truth. This is a sad news. Yung katotohanan ay based sa situation daw. Truth is constantly changing in this world. Wake up, church. What we used to be wrong, we'll see it now as a headline. Meron pa akong ipapakita. Ito balita to nakarang araw. 2 kabataan may gustong ipaglaban. Kumuha ng soup, itinapon sa sikat na painting ni Vincent van Gogh. Which one of our favorites ni Aki, the sunflower. Can we watch this short video? Itong 2 kabataan nito, they are protesting dahil I think sa UK ay mataas, may oil hike. At sinasabi nila na marami ang nagugutom. Pumunta sila sa museum, kinuha nila ang soup na Heinz tomato soup at tinapon nila sa sikat na worth 80.99 million worth itong painting ni Vincent van Gogh, protesting. Diba? Alam mo kung nabubuhay o mabuhay si Vincent van Gogh, siguro sasabihin niya, ano naman ang kinalaman ko dyan sa oil price at sinira nyo ang painting ko. You see that? Entitlement. Akala nila tama ang pinaglalaban nila. Maybe may gusto silang pinaglalaban or may pinaglalaban sila, pero mali ang kanilang paggawa ng pinaglalaban nila. And this, how entitlement attitude was born in our hearts in this society because we think we know the truth. Kaya maraming bastos, maraming marunong, maraming magaling, maraming kabataan ngayon ang ganyan. Naghahanap ng kakampi kapag nasaktan. Naghahanap ng protest group para sama-sama silang magrebelde. Gumawa ng kakaiba. But do you think this is right? Romans 12:2, in the Message translation, it says, do not become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention to God. God's children are called exactly to go against the flow. Kung ito ang mga isda, dito tayo papunta. We are standing against what is accepted and normal in this world. We stand against it. We will face opposition from this world kapag ginawa natin to mga kapatid. We will face persecution sa ating pamilya, possibly sa kapwa natin Kristiyano. It's not popular, but most good things are not. Young people are being taught to be ungrateful. We don't honor our parents nowadays. We don't submit to authorities. We disrespect our husbands and our wives. We disrespect our leaders. We want what we want. We get what we want. And we feel not good, we let other people suffer it. Going back to our scripture in Exodus and kay Absalom, they lack one thing. It's gratitude. Gratitude. People today are ungrateful. Parents are entitled, so as their children. Christians thought they are good and righteous and tinatapakan nila ang kapwa nilang sinners. Oh, we are all sinners, right? We need to be thankful for the grace of God that He showed on the cross. And as I end this, mga kapatid, kung grateful siguro itong dalawang kabataan na to sa buhay nila at iniisip nila na nakakakain pa sila, nabuhay sila hanggang ngayon, na kahit may oil price hike, kung grateful sila, siguro hindi nila yon gagawin. Gratitude is a choice. Start living a grateful life, mga kapatid. Sa aking mga kapwa magulang, if you want to raise more grateful kids, you need to start by living more grateful lives. You know what? Ang kailangan lang naman ng mga anak natin na pwede silang maging entitled ay ang pagmamahal natin. Hindi anumang toy, hindi anumang gamit, hindi anumang kagustuhan nila, pero ang gusto nila sa atin is ating time at pagmamahal. It's the same with our God. Ang entitled lang tayo ay ang pagmamahal ng Panginoon sa atin. Imagine, we are sinners. Dapat patay na tayo. Wala tayong karapatang magreklamo sa buhay natin dahil binigyan lang tayo ng chance ng Panginoon para mabuhay at bigyan pa ng pagpapala sa buhay na to. But we forget this when we struggle, when we face circumstances, when we have pains in our hearts, when we are being hurt, kapag na-offend tayo, kapag galit tayo, when we are out of comfort, Kapag nahihirapan tayo, kapag nagkakasakit tayo, kapag hindi na natin kaya, na gusto mo nang mag-give up, kapag feeling mo ikaw na lang ang gumagawa nito versus ang lahat, kapag gusto mo na lang mag-give up, entitlement ay nandyan sa puso nating lahat. Hindi lang ang generation natin ngayon ang entitled. Lahat tayo. When entitlement position begin to infect our hearts, gratitude is the antidote. And I have 7 things that I want you to do so that we will have a grateful heart. Unang-una, list down what are you thankful for each day. Minsan nakakalimutan natin. Diba? Kapag focus tayo sa problema, kapag focus tayo sa trabaho, kapag focus tayo sa mga mali, nakakalimutan natin yung mga small things na dapat natin ipagpasalamat sa Panginoon. List it down. Having a new perspective changes everything. And nothing makes us more grateful than perspective. Baguhin mo ang pananaw mo sa buhay. Baguhin natin. Number 2, don't think about more of yourself. Kapag laging narcissist, ako lagi, paano naman ako? Nahihirapan ako. Ako, ano ba yun? Paano pag hindi ko yun nagawa? Puro ako. Think about others who are more hurt than you. Alam mo, kapag pupunta ako sa Tondo, nung nagtatrabaho ako kanila, Wabel, nakikita ko kung paano mamuhay yung mga tao doon. Sabi ko, Lord, I am grateful. Kasi mas blessed ako. Parang anong karapatan kong magreklamo kasi marami pa akong mga kapwa Pilipino ang mas mahirap kaysa sa akin, ay mas matindi ang pinagdadaanan kaysa sa akin. Di natin alam, yung katabi mo, may mga pinagdaanan yan matindi. Diba? Yung makikilala mo, hindi mo alam, na-rape pa yan sa loob ng bahay. Ikaw nagre-reklamo ka lang sa pagkain. Don't think about yourself too much. Number 3, be thankful for the things you take for granted. Yung mga small things in your life, but you are looking and expecting for bigger things. Nakakalimutan mo magpasalamat pagkagising mo sa umaga. Nakakalimutan mong magpasalamat na yung asawa mo nagluto ng ulam mo. Nakakalimutan mo yung anak mo nagbigay sa'yo ng something. We forget that. Nakakalimutan mo may bagong pintura na yung bahay nyo. We forget those things. Number 4, serve others. Serve others. It's the best feeling. Sabi sa Biblia, be servants of God. Serve others. Number 5, enjoy the hard work. Mahirap magpakabuti, pero mahirap din magpakasama. Kaya kung pipili ka na lang, dun ka na sa maganda ang resulta. Enjoy the hard work. Number 6, be consistent. Hindi pa pwedeng grateful ka ngayon sa susunod na linggo. Hindi na. Hindi pa pwedeng okay ka ngayon sa mga susunod na araw, galit ka na. Mayabang na tayo ulit. Be consistent. And lastly, be faithful. Be faithful. Alam niyo ibig sabihin ng faithfulness? This is the tenacity to continue. The word faithfulness is defined with other words like promise, vow, belief, duty, trust, reliability, and loyalty. And I just want to say, today, giving up is so easy. If you don't like something, okay. we can always quit, especially if it's hard things and things don't go on our way. Ang daling mag-give up. And persevering when things are not easy is often when we find our greatest reward. Kapag hindi na madali ang mga bagay-bagay and you are consistent and faithfully doing it, there is the greatest reward of God. You are where you are right now. Uulitin ko yung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina. The greatness of the traits that we have is gratefulness. Gratitude, I mean. The greatness of all this trait is gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of goodness and happiness. And as I end this, I want us to pray. Maybe in the past weeks or sa mga buwan na nakalipas, we were ungrateful. We feel so entitled sa trabaho natin, sa pamilya natin, sa kaibigan natin, sa simbahan. Para bang ako ang magaling, mali kayo, ito ang dapat, alam ko ang dapat. No. Sabi sa Biblia, ang sino mang nagmamataas, siyang ibinababa. Ang sino mang binababa, siya ang itinataas. Gratitude is the antidote. Ang sagot, ang cure sa pagiging entitled natin. If you are grateful to God right now, I want you to stand up and we will worship God. Ang ganda nung song na give thanks with a grateful heart. Let's worship God. Siguro ito lang yung papagawa ko ngayon. Let's stop thinking the problems that we have for a while. Hindi natin yan matatagpuhan, mga kapatid. Lagi tayong magkakaroon ng problema. Pero yung attitude na masaya ka despite that you have problems, masaya ka kahit galit ka sa katrabaho mo, or sa boss mo, masaya ka kahit na nag-aaway or may problema kayo sa loob ng bahay. Masaya ka kahit na merong pinapagawa ang Lord sa'yo out of your comfort. Lord, salamat dahil buhay pa rin ako ngayon. Salamat dahil na-overcome ko. Salamat dahil tinuturo mong wag akong maging entitled. Salamat dahil pinapa-humble down mo ako ngayon para pagpurihan kita. And if you do that, God will give us the reward that we are expecting.